Hey, what's up, YouTube? So today is the start of the series when we just look at, we're just going through the alphabet and looking at just a list. This is not going to be an extensive list when we get through A through Z, but it's really just to get you thinking of looking at your items that you have now that you might not think about. During this time, if you see something and it starts with a particular letter that maybe we've talked about today, and I didn't mention it, that might click something in your head. Maybe I should get another one of these. So again, leave me a comment on if I did not say anything that starts with that letter that you're like, Matt, just say this. Oh, okay. I'm just a simple man. So with that, let's just get started, right? So we're going to be starting with the letter A, right? It's the beginning of the alphabet. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. I'll just be mentioning why I chose that particular item. So the first thing I want to talk about is aluminum foil, okay? There's many reasons why we have aluminum foil, outside of I use it for when I smoke, when I barbecue, I get the heavy duty stuff. There's always toaster oven, we use that, we put it in there. So there's just real world aluminum foil, to keep meat warm. You can put some over it to like tent it. There's so many different reasons why you might use aluminum foil. However, there is being reported that there is an aluminum shortage. Now, not only is this going to affect the big piece aluminums, but it will trickle down into the smaller items like aluminum foil. Again, you might not see that now. You might not see it now because all of that stuff, again, might be in a shipping container somewhere on the ports that's just now making its way into stores. However, it might not be a bad idea to say, okay, I have one box that's halfway done. Maybe I should go to Walmart, pick up a couple boxes, or maybe I should go to Costco and grab some that they have them like multi-packs. You know what I'm saying? So that might be something to do. Now, one thing that I always do, one thing that I'm a big proponent on is smelling good. We down here in the South, it is warm, okay? And it really doesn't matter where you live, because if you stink, you stink. And I'm talking about getting antiperspirants, deodorant. Now, under my sink, you'll find a couple extra containers, I can't even think of the word, of deodorant, of antiperspirants. Okay, so some people, you don't use antiperspirants or you don't use deodorant because there is a difference. Okay, so I suggest you just take a look, and it might not be a bad idea to stock up on those things, because if you can't get them or if they're out, I went to the store just recently, and just because I was in that aisle, I was headed to the back section, I just happened to look and they were out. Okay, but it really didn't matter to me because I still have, a little while before, I'll need it again. Okay, so that might be something to take a look at. The other thing that starts with the letter A, and again, I'm just going to mention this and we're going to move on to the next letter. This is one thing that there's a reason why I remembered to select this as letter A, and that's air filter. Check not only your vehicle air filters, but your home air filters, that your heater and your air conditioner, because if those get full of whatever it's pulling in from the outside, it will affect the comfortability of your life when it comes to is it 90 degrees in your home, or is it a nice 74 degrees? So I know that now, downstairs, where our unit, where our AC unit and the heater, all of that, the closet, it now has extra air filters. The past few days were really rough, because of coils that were freezing up. They were getting frozen because it wasn't getting that air because of the air filter. It's good now. However, check your supply of air filters, and it doesn't need to be those industrial 3M that like will take everything out of the air. It doesn't need to be those. Okay, those are super expensive, and I'm not saying to go get those. I'm saying just check your air filters. Man, I can't talk. And if you need some, get some. And if you see some, you know, at the Home Depot or at the other place, Lowe's, you know, it might not be a bad idea. Spend a couple dollars, throw them in your basket, and be done with it. All right. So that's what I would suggest with the letter A. Now, again, subscribe to this channel right down here. If there's something that I'm missing that starts with the letter A, let me know, because I might not ever think about it until I can't get it. All right, so moving on. Letter B, number B, right? Number B is batteries. This was one of the first things that I actually stocked up on, was batteries. We have children, and one of the things that happens each year is Christmas time, they get something that is bound to take some batteries, whether it be AAA, AA, C's, D's. You know, do you need batteries? Take a look at the flashlights that you have. In fact, that's going to be coming up in a further episode. Spoiler alert. What takes batteries? Do you need to have some? Probably. Do you have enough? So whether they are the kind that you use them once and they're dead, or you get the rechargeable ones, do you have enough in your drawers? Everybody has those most likely in your kitchen, those junk drawers that kind of house everything. Do you have batteries in there, or do you put them with your other items like in bins, totes, you know, whatever? So take a look at your batteries. Now, it's the summer, so you might not be thinking about this next item, but think about blankets. Do you have blankets, enough blankets to keep you warm in the winter? Now, let's just say, we're thinking of what ifs, right? Because you don't want to be unprepared. But think if your power goes out. That's going to affect your heater. Do you have a fireplace? If not, you're going to have to bundle up. Do you have blankets? If not, it might not be a bad idea to get some. Now, in a previous video, if you don't have power, and we're thinking long term here, right, guys? Is books. Do you look at your bookshelf? Do you have books on how to do this, how to do that? Or maybe it's your favorite novel. I have a few books that I like to read, but they're on my Kindle. What happens if the power goes out? You know, for long term in my Kindle. Yes, they do last, like, you mean the battery on a Kindle darn near lasts 3 years, doesn't it, right? But no, but for real, do you have something on your shelves to keep you interested in reading? Does it, you know, keep your mind off of things? Another reason, and this is a side note, and this is going to make the video a little bit longer on these when I just start rambling, but it's not a bad idea to take a mental break from what's being what you watch here on YouTube or what you watch on the news. But the problem is when you do, you can kind of get into that, well, this ain't gonna happen because I haven't heard it. No, watching these videos, at least for me, and seeing the news that's out there, they are telling you what's gonna happen next, and they remind me to keep doing what I'm doing and why it should tell you to keep or to start doing something. Now, this next item is a bag, and it's you know, I hesitate to say bug out bag, but it does start with the letter B, so I'm going to mention it. I'm not a huge fan of bug out bag. I get the idea of it, but I just want to suggest something that can hold multiple items. Say you do have to put some things in it. Maybe keep something in your car. Maybe keep a bag. If you want to call it a bug out bag, you can in your car, but pack it with things that maybe, if you are working, if you're driving to work and you wear like dress shoes or high heels or whatever you do, maybe keep a pair of running shoes or something that's a little more comfortable. Let's say if your car breaks down and you have to go somewhere, or if you need to keep a small umbrella, or whatever, or maybe some protein bars in there just to get you home or just to get you to where you're going. But make sure it's a quality bag. There's so many bags out there. I'm thinking mentally of the bags that we have downstairs, not only for hiking and things like that, but just for school, just for computers. Any bag really will do. It doesn't need to be a specific. Don't think that it needs to be military grade. Just get a bag. All right. So moving on to C, and then this is going to be a little bit shorter of a one. So I'm just going to mention containers first. With all of these items, containers are going to be the best thing to store certain items in. Whether you're keeping all, like, let's just say propane cans, right? Propane fuel, those the green ones, or those smaller ones, for hiking or backpacking. You guys know what I'm talking about, hopefully. But lining them up and stacking them, turning them upside down so more of them fit in, those are great to put into a container. I just mentioned those because, you can put so many different things in there. The next thing I want to talk about is canned food. I will say that this was probably the number one thing that I started with, and I didn't even realize it. Now, in a previous video, I talk about buying some cans because in the past couple of years, the cans that we have, make sure that they are something that you enjoy eating. All right, don't just buy something off the shelf. Don't get all willy-nilly and just start putting things in your cart. Or down here in the South, they say don't start putting things in your buggy just because. All right, make sure that you're gonna eat them. Not gonna eat this. So there's a lot of different things. I'm not saying that cans are the most nutritious. There's a lot of sodium, a lot of preservatives in there, but really we're talking about preparing. If you want to prepare for survival, if you want to prepare for an SHTF situation, canned food will provide calories. I'm not worried about certain things if I'm trying to live, and that's what I do. I prepare for certain situations. Some that if this happens, I'm going to do this, but if that happens, I might, open up a can of chili just to get me through the day. All right, so canned food, and I don't look. There's so many things. I'll leave it up to you on the expiration dates. I'm not saying that it goes bad the day after it expires, but I'm not saying it's still good 10 years down the road. You do you, boo. So with that, moving on to letter D. So D is one of the things I want to talk about is a dryer. Now, I don't necessarily say look at your clothes dryer or any kind of like hair dryer, but the reason I mention dryer is because after every load, or I should say before every load, however you want to look at it, you clean the lint out, right? You get that all out, you toss it away. Maybe it's not a bad idea to throw that in a Ziploc and put that with your other supplies. The reason why is because that's a great fire starter. And I'm just gonna leave it at that because there's so much else. There's so many other things that you need to worry about. Dryer lint, maybe not on the top of your list, but one thing that I do and I'm a huge fan of is a dehydrator. Now, if you have one, make sure it works. If you don't have one, you might want to take a look at perhaps investing in one. This is great, and I can't stress this enough. a good dehydrator, adding in some food saver bags, some mason jars, a way to store things, is a great way to preserve your food now, or look at preserving leftovers if it can be dehydrated, storing that for later. We have chickens. You can maybe hear them. I'm backwards, but I take 30 eggs, 30. So we get the quart-sized mason jars, and I put 30 eggs, and I blend them up so it looks like I'm making scrambled eggs, and I put them in my dehydrator. Now the dehydrator has holes in it, so in the tray, and so I had to buy like a silicone thing so I could add it to that without worrying about it spilling all over the place. So I do 30 eggs, and I'm able to dehydrate all 30 of them, and they fit inside of a mason jar, a quart size, the big one, and I just keep those. Now, I'm not worried about salmonella because I'm not eating them like that. I'm gonna reconstitute them, and I'm going to use them for scrambled eggs, or I can use them in baking or whatever. So when I do that, it will kill off any kind of risk, but I'm not worried about it. So that's how we do it. I strongly suggest a dehydrator. We have apples, we have strawberries, we have kiwi. I haven't made fruit leather yet, and I've actually not even made jerky yet. So that is on, sorry, wind gust. That is on the list to do. The last thing I want to talk about is the letter E. Now, there's not a whole lot that I could think of when it comes to the letter E, so I'm just gonna eyeglasses. So I encourage you guys. Now my prescription, these are newer, even though you can see it kind of chipping. That's my own fault. But my prescription hasn't changed in 15, 16, 17 years since I've had these. And so I'm not necessarily worried about this. What I'm going to suggest is, but you might want to look into getting an extra set, or even an extra 2 sets. It doesn't have to be the greatest glasses. These ones, I encourage you guys not to go to, don't think of spending all that money on name brand stuff at your eye doctor, but get that prescription from them. Why? Because it's yours. Go to somewhere online, much cheaper. I got these at Zenny, Zenny, I believe. I believe that is. It says so somewhere. Yeah, Zenni. I encourage you guys to just take a look, and you can get glasses there, backup glasses, for dirt cheap. Highly, highly recommend them. So we looked at A, B, C, D, and E. Next time we'll start with F, of course. But hit that subscribe button, hit that notification if you want to join all of us in looking at this. And until next time, guys, look at your items A through E, and as always, be blessed. All right, see ya.